Empress Elisabeth of Austria became known to history as Sisi, and to millions through the films as Sisi, the portrait, the hair, the stars, the perfect face. But what happens when a woman becomes trapped inside the image everyone worships? Before the sorrow, there was the myth. She looked like a dream made visible. Crystal, silk, diamonds, and youth surrounded her, while Europe began turning a real woman into a legend. At first, Sisi's world looked like a fairy tale: marble, candlelight, silk, and gold. Yet even in the palace mirror, beauty already carried a question. Was this glory, or the beginning of a cage? Before Vienna, Elizabeth belonged to wind, fields, and open air. Born Duchess Elisabeth in Bavaria, she was aristocratic, but not yet the famous empress. She was young, curious, alive, and still free. In Bavaria, Elizabeth's life still felt personal. She had rank, but not imperial ceremony. No courtiers followed her every move. No ritual had yet turned her beauty into duty. Then Emperor Franz Joseph saw Elizabeth. She was his cousin, and not the bride everyone expected. But in that first glance, politics slipped aside, and romance entered the story. The choice surprised the court. Elizabeth's older sister had been expected to marry the emperor. Instead, Franz Joseph chose Elizabeth, and young Sisi stepped into the path of empire. Love made everything look golden. Flowers, promises, and imperial attention wrapped her in hope. Like many young women, she believed love might protect her from whatever came next. For one shining moment, the dream held. She was adored, chosen, and lifted toward a glittering future. The palace had not yet shown her what it would demand. When Elizabeth left Bavaria, she was not leaving an ordinary life. She was leaving the freedom of being known as herself. Vienna did not greet Sisi like a home. It rose around her like a system. Vast, glittering, and controlled. It welcomed her into power and quietly took her breath away. The palace watched. Every room held judgment. Every glance measured posture, manners, beauty, and worth. Franz Joseph remained near, but empire stood closer. Ceremony filled the space between them. She was loved, yes, but love now moved inside walls built by duty. The rules arrived quickly. Stand this way, dress this way, speak this way. In the Habsburg court, even grace had discipline. Above her new life hovered another power. Archduchess Sophie, Franz Joseph's mother. Severe, polished, and unbending, she became the force that shaped the rules around Elizabeth. Then came Sisi's dressing room. Private, yes, but not free. Mirrors, combs, jewels, ribbons, and gowns waited around her like instruments preparing to build an empress. In the mirror, she studied her own face. Still young, still tender. But already, she could feel another woman forming, the one the court wanted the world to see. Then the ritual began. Attendants combed, sectioned, and handled each long strand with practiced care. What the world admired, Elizabeth had to sit through, patiently and silently. Brushes, ribbons, oils, and silence filled the chamber. The work continued patiently, almost ceremonially. This was not only grooming, it was the daily construction of a myth. Hours passed around her, lights shifted, the attendants kept working, and Sisi remained still. The hair that made her unforgettable also carried weight. Beauty was becoming a burden. When the star ornaments entered her hair, the legend was complete. Jewels caught the light, and she seemed almost unreal, like a woman already becoming history. Then came the waist. Laces tightened, fabric narrowed, shape became raw. The silhouette admired by others was formed through pressure, patience, and quiet discipline. Before dawn, she worked, exercise, balance, restraint. Her body did not simply exist. It was managed like another royal duty, another surface expected to remain flawless. Even food entered the ritual. Fine porcelain, delicate portions, careful restraint. Beauty was protected not only with jewels and gowns, but with hunger, control, and daily refusal. Perfume, soap, linen, creams, and polished bottles surrounded her. Refinement touched every detail. Beauty was not a single act. It was a world of endless maintenance. Soon the room filled with motion. Attendants lifted gowns, pinned details, adjusted ornaments, and refined the final image. She remained still at the center, magnificent and exhausted. Then Sissi appeared before the court, radiant, perfect, composed. In that moment, the ritual succeeded. In the ballroom, heads turned, light struck crystal and gold, but she commanded the room. Admiration followed her like music. Faces opened, eyes lingered, and whispers passed quietly through the hall. Sissi had become a spectacle. Even the painter joined the making of her image. Seated in stillness, she became a composition. Brush by brush, the woman before him was transformed into imperial perfection. Yet inside the crowd, she was alone, surrounded by admiration. Sissi stood apart from it. The more completely they praised her beauty, the less they seemed to see Elisabeth. Franz Joseph may have cared deeply, but love could not dissolve protocol. Affection remained, yet empire kept its distance. She had not married only a man, she had married a system. The court kept demanding more, better posture, better presentation, better control. The image was never finished. Behind the polished surface, sorrow settled in. In the quiet after ceremony, Sissi faced the mirror again, carrying the fatigue of being endlessly arranged for other people's eyes. Even grief did not stop the ritual. The hair was still tended, the gown was still adjusted. Beauty continued, not as joy, but as duty performed through absence and pain. Then the fan appeared, small, elegant, and quiet. But in her hand it became something more. Not decoration, not flirtation, a first shield against the gaze. She began to hide in plain sight, present at the event, visible in the room, and still partly concealed. The fan was only the beginning. Soon came gloves, travel clothes, trunks, and carriages. Sissi moved away from the court, not because she stopped being imperial, but because distance was one of the few freedoms still available. On the Greek island of Corfu, by the sea, Sissi could breathe again. The sea breeze touched her dress. The horizon opened. For a moment, beauty was no longer a performance. It was simply a woman standing in light. Away from Vienna, the air felt gentler. A terrace, a quiet room, a distant landscape. Yet peace was never complete. The palace could be left behind, but not forgotten. Even in travel, Sissi's image followed her. A miniature portrait, a likeness, a memory in paper and frame. Fame stayed near. Time moved on, and age changed the meaning of beauty. The black veil now entered the story, not as fashion, but as protection from a world that still wanted to look. What had once been adored became something she guarded more fiercely, turning from the light before it could judge her. She began refusing the gaze outright, fan raised, veil drawn, face turned away. It was self-protection, but also quiet defiance. She would not give everything. In private, the legend softened. The jewels were fewer, the hair simpler, the posture less guarded. For a moment, the room held not Sissi the icon, but Elisabeth the woman. The world remembered Sissi's beauty, the hair, the stars, the grace, the image. But behind every admired surface stood Elisabeth, a woman who learned that beauty can enchant, control, and imprison. She searched for love. She inherited an empire. She became one of the most admired women in Europe. But in the end, admiration became her cage.